Well, hello there. It is an early Sunday morning. I am in Somerville, Texas. It's freezing cold. I'm actually out taking photos, which is my new thing. I've gone from being a musician to a videographer and now photography. All right, I've been teasing this big announcement and I'll get right to it. I'm starting a sample library company. Yes, I've been selling sample libraries for a while now, but kind of off and on, going for it. I've got my friends Owen Bolig and Hunter Rogerson who are all in on this thing. And I can't tell you how amazing it is to work with two people that are so talented and every day in our Discord to see new versions of what's coming up next. My mouth is freezing. Future commercial libraries will still be the free contact player, but the prototypes are going to be VSTs. And yeah, I think you're going to like them. Staying true to the whole prototype idea, but pretty slick. But when I say it's going to be more than a sample company, you know, education is always going to be a big part of what I do. As with the YouTube channel I've done so far, I'm going to try to wrap that in, and also collaborating with other people. A couple years ago, I made some of the prototypes with my friends, and those are some of my favorite ones. And I realized that, one, working with Hunter and Owen and working with other collaborators, a big point of emphasis is not working by myself. I don't want to do that anymore. I have some skills and I can release things on my own and they would probably be okay. But working with other people is just, that's what I want to do. I've talked about the loneliness epidemic in our business and I don't want to be lonely anymore. I've been thinking about how to define the sound of this new thing. Two words, folk cinema, keep coming back to me. There's kind of a thread of quieter, more organic, folky sounds, but I also like to take those sounds and then make them big and atmospheric, and so that you kind of have both options. You build a sound from the DNA of the main sound. The sun is poking through. I might have to move here in a second. I wanted to make this announcement here in Somerville. For years, this is the place that I have come to. One, I didn't choose Somerville, Texas. My parents didn't think of me when they were born here a long time ago. But my whole life, I've been coming down here to visit. It's this little small town on Highway 36 between Austin, I can't do the map here, Austin, Dallas, and Houston. We're from Dallas, but I try to get down here once a month or once every other month. You drive through the town, you don't think much about it, as most of these old towns in Texas. It was big when the railroad was big, and when the railroad stopped stopping and dropping off people in the town, over the course of the next 20, 30, 40 years, people moved away. And it doesn't quite look like it did back in the 50s and 60s in its heyday, but it's still a special place to me.
But a lot of people come in here and they still remember those old combinations. They just get up there and twist and turn and the box opens right up. So.
Now, Linda, were you born here, Somerville?
I was born in Brenham, in the hospital in Brenham, but yes, I'm from here, yes.
Lived here your whole life?
My whole life, yeah, my whole life. I taught school for 30 years.
What class were y'all in?
1968. There never was a class as great as the senior class of 68. There were stores everywhere on both sides of the street. And I remember, you could go shopping here in Somerville and things were more expensive, but there was always a place to go shopping.
You could buy anything you needed here.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of went the way of small towns. And,
it did.
If you've been around for a while, this is where I filmed all of my paper trail videos that I made to go along with my paper trail album. And I did not know what I was doing when I started making these videos. I'd watch YouTube every night and come out and try to figure it out. I definitely learned here. And you know what? There are no other videographers and photographers around that I have to fight for the perfect shot. Every now and then somebody drives by, like right now, and I'm gonna have to, hopefully they turn. Please turn. So I don't have to deal with a lot of people. When you take a small town like this and you try to learn everything about it, like the lake is right over here, And my grandfather actually was part of the team of men that went to visit Washington and talk to LBJ about getting this lake in the 60s. But when you start to really examine a small town like this, you find there's a lot going on. It looks a certain way now, but it certainly didn't look or feel the way it feels now back in its day. I like to think that with the internet and big cities being so crowded that small towns like this might thrive once again. Who knows? I heard this guy on the internet somewhere say that creativity is when you take two things that don't go together and you put them together and you see what happens. Well, Somerville, Texas, and sample libraries, I don't believe have anything to do with one another. But when I'm out here and I'm trying to make sense of what I see through this lens, it's not all that different than when I'm in the studio and I have a flute and I have a violin and I'm trying to make them into something interesting. It's all about going into the details of what does this thing really sound like and what can it be. That feeling I get when I'm creating is the same when I'm out here with my camera or making a sample library or writing a song. The hardest part about starting a business is coming up with a name. You're probably figuring me out as the sun pops above those trees. I've decided to call this new company Somerville Sounds. There are a million sample libraries out there. And is it the best time to start a sample library company in 2024 with all the stuff that's going on in the world? I don't know. When I see the new AI video on Twitter, I don't even want to get out of bed. I can't predict the future, none of us can. But I have to believe that if I and Hunter and Owen put everything we have into these sounds, which we're going to do and we have done, and I put everything I can into making the best YouTube videos that are inspiring to you and hopefully want to get you out of bed to go write some music. Well, if we do that and we uphold our end of the bargain, I believe that that inspiration that we feel will transfer through these little sounds onto your computer and hopefully help you see music in a different way. I hope that if we do our best work, then that will inspire you to do your best work. More to come in the next few weeks. Talk soon.